Hi, and welcome to the 2014 Arizona Rattlers preseason show here on Cox 7. You know, it's hard to believe, but another Arizona Rattlers season is about to begin. Seems like just a few months ago that the Rattlers were wrapping up another championship, capturing their second straight crown and keeping it, the Foster Trophy that is, on the Arizona turf where it belongs. Now, we're back again this season with my compadres, former Dallas Cowboys great Dale Hellestrae, Chris Harris, our man down in the trenches. And guys, the way things are shaping up, looks like it's going to be another fun season.
It is going to be a fun season, and you just love the way this organization rallies around these causes. You win one and then to come back last year and do what they did, and now going for a third one. They are hungry. Coach Kevin Guy keeps his team on edge. It's going to be a fun ride.
I mean, they had the bullseye on their chest all season long, going for the repeat, as you mentioned. They were the first team to repeat since Tampa Bay did it in 1995 and 1996. And this year, they're going to try to become the first team to three-peat since the Detroit Drive pulled it off and brought home the Foster Trophy 3 straight years, 1988, 89, and 1990.
Go back and look at some of the highlights from last season, and it wasn't an easy campaign. Despite that 15-3 regular season, they continually faced challenges really from about week 2 on, and a lot of it had to do with injuries. We talked so much about they had so much depth coming into camp, guys. How is he going to keep everybody happy? But that depth ended up paying big dividends.
We sat on this stage last year at this time saying, what is Coach Guy doing, bringing in all these receivers? And we're not just talking about run-of-the-mill guys. We're talking about top echelon wide receivers. And that depth paid off as injuries mounted there early in the season. Guys stepped up, filled in where they needed to, and at the end of the year, the Rattlers were where they needed to be.
And even at the end of the year, the guys that were banged up fought through that pain, like Rod Windsor in the Arena Bowl, got it done against Philadelphia with a groin injury. Marquis Floyd went down, but he gave it a go. Nick Davila, he was banged up going into the championship game. He gave it a go and played a fantastic game. A bunch of gamers on this team. When the bright lights go on, they come out and they get it done.
And of course, Dale, you know this from your playing days with Dallas. It never gets easier, especially as you point out, going for the three-peat. And a lot of it it's out of a coach's control. You've got guys retiring, just injuries, attrition, expansion of a league, as we've got here with the AFL. And those are the things that coach and general manager Kevin Guy has to juggle.
Bottom line is, when you have success, people want to emulate what you do. That means they want some of your players, they want some of your coaches. And remember, each and every week you have a bullseye on your back if you're the Arizona Rattlers. That means you have to come out and play at the top level each and every week, and that's really difficult to do.
And the great thing about the core of this team is that most of them are back. They've been through that before. They know what it's like, and they've been successful once before. Now they can do it again.
And of course, some of those players we were talking about, Billy Eisenhart, Virgil Gray, who played such a key role, especially the last 8 or 9 weeks of the season, Garrett Lindholm, who came through with some big kicks, but these are all personnel changes that this team is going to have to deal with. Let's touch on expansion real quick, because LA Kiss, and yes, the Kiss comes in with the proper backing.
You know, the LA Kiss, they got introduced to the league back at the Arena Bowl last year, and you got Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley from the rock group Kiss being introduced to the league. And I'll tell you what, they're going to add a new element here with the entertainment factor, which they are very accustomed to with their rock and roll days. And I'll tell you what, they're going to take some of the attention away from the Arizona Rattlers, maybe some of the pressure on the Arizona Rattlers to try to go for the three-peat, because everybody's kind of interested in this LA Kiss group. So I think it might be a good thing, taking away some of the pressure, and they can kind of maybe slide under the radar a little bit this year.
Well, I think they would certainly be happy to do that, at least for the first few weeks before the bullets really start flying. Well, listen, don't go anywhere, because we're just getting warmed up here. The man who makes it all happen, head coach Kevin Guy, just the second coach in AFL history to win back-to-back titles, is with us next. You're watching the 2014 Rattlers preseason show here on Cox 7 Arizona, your home for Rattlers football.
What's your dream garden? A resort hideaway? An arid escape? Or maybe a rooftop oasis? Step outside with landscape architect Pete Puree and get your project started. If you're puzzled about plants or need help with your landscape, tune in to Step Outside for expert advice from a design professional. It's time to turn your blank slate into something great. Watch Step Outside and design with the desert in mind. Sunday at 8 and Wednesday at 7 on Cox 7.
Well, the home opener is right around the corner. You want to be sure and join the Cox 7 team for another terrific season of high-flying arena football action with the Arizona Rattlers coming up quickly on March 15th when the Philadelphia Soul visit the Snake Pit to take on Arizona in a rematch of last season's AFL Championship game. Now, if you can't be there in person, be sure to watch all the action on Cox 7, HD 1007, and of course online at cox7.com. Well, we are lucky to have Coach Kevin Guy escape the Rattlers coaching office in the field for a few hours as he joins us here for our Rattlers preseason show. Busy man right now, a lot of things as the season fast approaching. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you guys. Yeah, training camp right now, full speed. Got a lot of new guys in, and trying to see what moving pieces we got, and see how they're going to fit into our system. And right now, I like what I see.
And a lot of new. Let's start with the division first off.
Yeah, we got a new division this year. So we got San Antonio and LA. So they split up the West a little bit. Play both of them home and home. So looking forward to a little bit new, little twist in arena football. And I know Phoenix and LA's got a lot of love. So we'll see how that works out.
Talk a little bit about the uniqueness of you go to San Jose twice. They only come to Phoenix once, but yet Spokane comes here twice. You go there once. Talk about the nuances of that. Does it affect how you go about your business?
Well, I think some people are tired of seeing us in the championship now. So, we got to go to San Jose twice. I mean, that's still a big rival. It's the second longest running rival in arena football. But, we still got to go through each other come playoff time. So, we've talked about it as coaches going into it, seeing each other 3 times. I don't know if we're going to show everything before we see them in the playoffs. So I think there's going to be a little strategy there to see how we play some of those games.
Talk a little bit about this time of the year. Some coaches say, I hate this time of year. I have to let guys go. I have to make cuts. You develop relationships. Sometimes it's veteran guys. Talk about how you deal with that mentally.
Well, I'm just, glad to be back in the office and out on the field and working with the guys. You're fighting complacency when you've had the success that this organization's had over the last few years. And we've brought in some new pieces, a lot of rookies this year. We like to build our own, players in our system, teach them our brand of arena football, and instead of picking up guys from the other teams. We did pick up a few from other teams to fill some holes, and we like what we see. We got a few injuries in camp, so we'll see how that plays out as we get closer to cut day.
And who are some of the new players that you really like coming in here?
Well, Quinn Peacock, we really felt like he was a difference maker. Coming from Orlando, he's a former third-round draft pick out of Ohio State. Jeff Maddox was a veteran center that we picked up. Vic Hall was a veteran defensive back that we picked up as well in the secondary after losing Virgil. So, we felt good about a lot of our pieces. We also picked up a guy named Alex McGee who got injured in training camp. So, another draft pick, pass rusher that we were looking forward to working with. So, all I can do is coach the hand that I was dealt. So, we'll get out on the field. I like, the guys that we got working with us right now. And we'll continue to try to develop them as coaches and see how we come together as a football team.
And I know you like to bring in new guys, if nothing else, to just kind of create that competition. But if you're going to win championships, you've got to maintain those core veterans. Just talk about some of the guys that fans have seen over the last couple of seasons as well that will return here.
Well, we got a great core veteran group. Obviously, we've won some championships with them and been to 3 straight Arena Bowls with those core guys. And I think when you start recruiting, you can find some of those perimeter players to surround themselves with. But, these guys are winners, and that's why we've kept them. And they work hard. They are committed to winning, and they're doing everything right. So, my job is to make sure that complacency doesn't set in. And, so far I haven't seen any signs of that.
You've talked about complacency twice in the short time we've been sitting here. All right, you're going for your 3rd straight. Been a long time since it's been done in the Arena League. Long time since it's been done in the National Football League. How do you fight complacency as a head coach?
Well, I think you got to bring in competition. I think competition brings out the best in you, and we wanted to have a competitive training camp, and we wanted it as competitive as possible. And I think we've gotten that. We've got after them a little bit, and these guys have responded. So, I like where it's going. I like where our mindset is. I think the offense is a little ahead of the defense right now, just because we've had some changes, but we're also on offense. We're working through some things in protection. We got some new faces in there as well. So, but offensive line is usually the last little group that that comes around in terms of chemistry and gelling together and things like that. So I'm not ready to hit any panic buttons right now.
As we take a look at the season schedule, what is your take when you take a look at that? And in particular, your division opponents, you only play twice, but the other 3 teams in your conference, you play 3 times. I'm not sure where that came from, but when you take a look at the season schedule, what's your thoughts?
Well, my first thought is they should have let me put the schedule together. So, we have to travel. We have to see these guys 3 times. It is what it is, and at the end of the day, I'd rather play stiffer competition than and test ourselves throughout the season, even if it means we're going to get a little banged up, rather than taking on some opponents that are not as competitive. So I like to know where we stand come playoff time.
Well, Coach, it's always great to see you, and looking forward to what should be another thrill ride here in 2014.
Absolutely.
Well, he is the man who made the Rattlers relevant once again. Ron Shurts, the owner of the Rattlers, drops by next to pay us a visit.
Su Vida is your life with an Hispanic twist. Watch Su Vida each week on Cox 7 as we take you to fun places, meet interesting people, and celebrate Hispanic community, culture, food, music, y más. Su Vida, only on Cox 7.
Get your Rattler season tickets right now, and for a limited time, you can buy 2 season tickets and get 2 free. You can become an official 9th man by calling 602-514-TD-TD. or go to azrattlers.com. Be a part of the action as the Rattlers, yes, go for 3 straight titles. And we are thrilled to have the best owner in the league and certainly one of the top owners in professional sports, Ron Shurts. And Ron, thanks for joining us, taking a few moments out of a very busy schedule. And it's been an extremely busy offseason because you win back-to-back titles. Everybody's gunning for you. And the one thing you guys have shown in years past, you haven't rested on your laurels. Just talk about some of the changes there in the offseason.
Yeah, no question. As you guys know, I don't spend a lot of time. I got a lot of other things going on, but I can tell you that Kevin and his staff did a great job. And we lost Virgil and a couple other players, but primarily everybody's back. But he still went out and signed 19 new guys, and there's some guys that are definitely game changers. I mean, guys that came. Played in the NFL for a few years, high draft picks, big guys that can play, and so it's going to be pretty exciting to see. He feels like it, believe it or not. It's one of the best teams that he's coached at this point in time. Long ways to go, but that's a good place to start.
Not only were you busy retooling the roster, but I know you were at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, took part in the Nexus Pro-Am. We were out there, and the 16th hole, you stepped up.
I did.
And let's take a look at what happened out there. Playing with Gary Woodland, one of your boys.
Yeah, one of my buddies, yeah.
Walking the 18th there, and then take us through the swing here on the 16th hole.
Well, it looks pretty smooth to me. That's all I can tell. So,
and the results were good.
I'm seeing some cheers, so that's a good start.
And there's about 5,000 people out there. You had a decent crowd out there on the Pro-Am. And
the
now,
important question: what was the club?
I just hit a little 9-iron. I hit a little on the toe. But I hit it in the toe and got about 20-some feet.
And then the 25-foot putt for birdie.
Yeah, I just canned it. So that was good stuff.
Now, I got to tell you, did you work on that one-handed putting stroke, or did you
that
pull the
was
hand
2
up?
hands after it was already gone.
Okay.
Then it pulled one hand.
Just checking.
It went in.
How did it feel? I mean, that's the hole to do it on.
Well, if you're going to do it, you're with me a handful of holes before that, so it wasn't quite that pretty. So if you're going to do it, you do it on 16.
I was going to let him say that, not me.
Yeah. It was game time. I told you that.
Yeah, you did. You did. You walked up, just like, it's time to shine, baby.
Yeah.
We've talked about the offseason. We've talked about this Rattler team. Everybody we talk to, from Kevin Guy to the coaches to the players, talks about the special ownership here. There are certain segments of ownership who really don't care about winning, and there's certain segments of ownership winning is very important. It's important to you. Why?
Well, I don't know anything else.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, I just, and obviously you guys know I'm not blocking and tackling, and I'm not involved in the day-to-day, but I just know from my other businesses that I run, I set an expectation. And we have high standards, and we've been really obviously fortunate, with injuries the last couple of years to hang in there. But we've also had some depth. But on the other hand, there's a reason why we've been known for 3 years and been in the Arena Bowl 3 years in a row. We definitely have set a tone throughout the organization about expectations, and So winning's not everything. Playing hard, having integrity, being good in the community, but I think the rest of that stuff kind of takes care of itself sometimes, and I think we've been fortunate for us that it has.
One of the key things that you focused in on when you took over as owner was the branding of this franchise. And one of the things that you've done here in this past offseason, discuss the unique partnership now that you formed with the Suns as you try to extend that brand.
Well, the Suns, as you guys know, I've had a relationship with the Suns for quite some time in my other businesses, so that was not our next step in being able to have that brand with those guys. And they're good friends of ours, and what a perfect example. So it's a combination of all that stuff that we're doing off the field, and that's just one additional step to step in there and have a relationship with those guys. And the brand's critically important. Helping win back-to-back helps the brand as well.
Along those lines, going for a 3-peat. No team has done it since Detroit, 1988, 89, and 90. What would it mean for you to pull it off?
I don't know. I don't even know if I can comment on that. Honestly, seriously, I just, it was kind of like when we lost, the first time, and for us to come back and win that first time after we lost, we didn't talk about winning back-to-back. It was about going out there and having the best play of the day and the best quarter of your season and the best half and the best game, and we'll take it like that and let chips fall where they may. But I can tell you this, we'll be competitive. We're not going to lay down from anybody, and we're going to get after it.
Well, great to see you as always. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ron, and looking forward to another great season with the Rattlers right here on Cox 7. Now, coming up next, they are the heart and soul of the Rattlers, talking about quarterback Nick Davila and defensive back Marquis Floyd. They'll be joining us in the house right here. You're watching the 2014 Arizona Rattlers preseason show on Cox 7.
Did you ever wonder, does a black widow really eat its mate? How can I become a test pilot? What exactly is a lava tube? And how do I find one? Get answers every week on the STEM Journals as we travel around Arizona, learning about exciting science, technology, engineering, and math topics and careers. Join host Jeff Notkin as he goes in search of scientific discoveries from ancient ruins to futuristic labs and places in between. The STEM Journals, sponsored by SCF Arizona, Sunday at 7 and Tuesday at 8 on Cox 7.
Well, welcome back to our Rattlers preseason special. Now, two guys who have been through it all. 3 Arena Bowls, 2 championships. Talking about, of course, Nick Davila, the Rattlers All-Arena quarterback, and defensive back Marquis Floyd, coming off of maybe his best season. These two guys join us right now. And, fellas, first off, thanks. Great to have you here because that means the season's right around the corner.
Yep, that's right. Thanks for having me.
And Nick, let's start with you. Talk about this offense coming off of another prolific season. Let's touch on last year briefly, but then talk about what you've got coming back here in 2014.
Well, last year was a great season for us. I thought we played well all the way through the season, and we played a team that we were really familiar with, and we were fortunate enough to come out with a W, and now it's on to the next one this upcoming season. I'm excited. We're having a good camp. Defense is pushing us, and offensively we're getting better. And it's just a process that you got to fall in love with becoming great.
Let's touch on 3 guys who there was so much depth last year, and we talked about this earlier in the show. You guys were really tested due to injuries last year, but it appears that your 3 primary targets offensively will be back, will be healthy. Talking about Windsor, Poots, and Purify. Just talk about as a quarterback how great it is to have those guys out there as that arsenal.
Yeah, those guys are outstanding. They're one of a kind. They're big guys. They play physical, and they catch everything. They make my job a lot easier. And so, when you're out there playing with these guys and you get accustomed to playing with receivers, you can almost throw it to them when you're not even looking at them. And that's the kind of chemistry we have so far, and we're just going to keep carrying it on to the next season. But also, too, K. Reed has been a guy who's been durable, has been there for me the last 3 years. And so, we got a plethora of great receivers, so I'm excited.
Plethora, I like plethora. All right, now, Marquise, they talk about defense wins championships, and you guys have done enough defensively to help win the last 2 championships. Talk about how this defense has come together. You lose a Virgil Gray, kind of a leader in that secondary, and all that. Talk about how that defense has come together and gelling right now.
Well, it started off a little shaky in camp, but after the scrimmage, we started to get a little chemistry back. We got Keith Brown coming back and Jeremy Kellum. They played a vital part in that, in the championship that we did win. And I think that, Jeremy Kellum's he's having a hell of a camp. He's doing the things coach asking him to do. Keith is still hawking the ball down. And with the additions of Vic Hall, we looking to be a special secondary again.
You talk about these guys, they're all playmakers, and as you look at your defense, going forward, what is the biggest challenge for you guys as you get this season kicked off?
The biggest challenge is communication, because the safety position in arena football is sort of like a quarterback of the defense, and losing Virgil Gray to Pittsburgh is kind of like losing our quarterback back there. So we had to bring Jeremy Kellum. He's going to be playing the safety position this year so far doing camp. Right. So the biggest thing, like I said, is communication, him communicating with the corners and getting us in the right defenses and the right checks and stuff.
And a question for both of you. You've been inundated with it since really the end of the season last year, the three-peat. What are the keys to completing it here, because it hasn't been done since the late 80s?
Anytime in professional sports, you can't always think about that. Everyone else is going to talk about it, the media, the fans. You just got to stay focused and take it one day at a time. The past is past. That was great. We had 2 back-to-back. We could have already had a three-peat. We were very close in 2011. Sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and you just got to roll with the punches. But as a player, you just got to fall in love with the process of becoming great every single day, perfecting your craft, and giving it 100% and let the chips fall where they may.
I just think we got to stay healthy. The biggest thing about football is we have a lot of banged up. You get banged up a lot. And we went through a lot of injuries last year. So we got a lot of depth this year. So we still just got to stay healthy with the core guys.
Well, and that's the key word, stay healthy. So that's what we wish both of you and the rest of the roster. Thanks for stopping by, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick Davila, Marquis Floyd, big keys for the Rattlers last few seasons, and of course here in 2014. All right, stick around because we've got much more straight ahead. Dale, Chris, Lindsay, and I will be back to wrap things up.
This is my contour, and it perfectly fits everything I'm into.
I can watch all my favorite shows
anytime I want. It can record 6 shows at once and store 1,000. It's like having my own personal playlist.
Now, all the things I like
are all in here.
This isn't TV.
Like I've ever seen before.
Contour is TV.
Just for me.
Introducing Contour, only from Cox.
Well, wrapping up things here on the 2014 Rattlers preseason show, we've got our social media maven, Lindsay Smith, back again to scour the Twitter and Facebook scenes again this year. Lindsay, tell us what's ahead.
Well, for the past 2 seasons, we have done a lot online to build up our social media throughout the Rattlers organization and all their fan base. And we're doing it again this year. So be sure to tweet with us at Cox7 Arizona and Facebook. Facebook.com/Cox7 Arizona. We're here to answer all of the questions that fans may have, anything about Rattlers or the AFL in general. And we just want to know what you're thinking about the game. If you have some insight or you just want to talk arena football, tweet and Facebook with us. And we're all on Twitter as well. So, our personal accounts, we're always willing and happy to talk with the fans. And of course, back by popular demand is our Ask Dale segment. And Mr. Hellestray is over here to answer all of our questions and give us some great insight.
And I just learned you can DM me, which is direct message, and I will direct message you back. So each year I'm taking baby steps, Lindsay.
Yes, we are teaching everybody at the Rattlers organization how to be social online.
He's become a tweeting phenom. And we're actually going to bring Harris into the fold.
So that means I have to go on Twitter as well here?
That means you do have to get on Twitter now this year, so the whole crew can be out there in the Twitter world.
The fans have asked for it, and they shall receive.
The request has been made.
Absolutely. All right, well, thank you, Lindsay. Now, as some of you know, the Cox 7 media team didn't fare all that well in last season's Rattlers Media Challenge. Well, After an intensive workout program in the offseason, of course, the addition of one Dale Hellestray and the domination of Lindsay in the final 3-on-3, we are proud to say that the Cox 7 media squad brings home the hardware this year, spilled a little blood, literally, and went for the hardware. How about this one?
Look at that toss.
I tell you what, I made it look easy, didn't I? I made it look easy.
Look at the footwork.
Look at that.
Twinkle toes going through the ladder.
That was the 4th time through, I think,
I
right?
thought I looked a lot better on TV than that.
There was a co-MVP, I thought, there with Mr. K. Ray.
K-Ray did a nice job getting us
Our
into
executive
the
producer,
finals.
though, Rich Reed, showing
Look
the
at
foot.
that catch over the board.
Yeah,
Well,
it
you
takes
know.
the shot on the boards. Look
Come
at the
game time, though,
the
it was all
breakaway
about
speed.
Lindsay.
Well, it's about Lindsay because we had to overcome our producer Rich Reed's defensive shortcomings.
Well, I got a lot of Twitter and Facebook response. Everyone was telling me I had to bring my A game this year, so I had to show up.
And that was the catch, by the way, that won the game.
That was the catch because
Yeah.
we give up a big play defensively. You come back in traffic, no regard for your face,
Or
teeth,
hair.
or hair.
I know.
With the catch.
I know it was a little scary afterthought
Yes.
of what could have happened, but in the moment, it was all about getting the catch and making sure that we locked down that win.
All right,
Perfect.
great stuff, guys. Hey, thanks for watching the 2014 Rattlers preseason show here on Cox 7. Then don't forget, first game coming up quickly, March 15th against Philadelphia in a rematch of the last 2 Arena Bowls. Best ticket in town, absolutely, and if you can't make it, we'll have it for you right here on Cox 7. So long, everybody.